Okay, so guys, we're starting something called design time, where essentially for the next 20 minutes, I'm just gonna go over whatever the designs I'm working on this week. At any given time, there's 4 of us constantly working on something, improving something, making install guides for something, doing stuff with designing. Things that we would constantly want to talk about to other people and showcase, but we're too busy actually doing the work. So I'm gonna give a synopsis, is that right? Of basically what I'm working on a regular basis. And each week we're gonna do this. The reason being, this is kind of like a vlog style, brain dump way of getting a ton of information jam-packed into consistent videos that are nice for us to keep the channel on a regular schedule. Jack, hit me with the first question.
What are things you're working on this week?
Simple. So things that I'm working on this week, things that I'm working on right now, I need to relocate this nitrous outlet bottle. This is a 15-pound extra tall total weight after it's full with nitrous, liquid nitrous, 32.75 pounds. So whatever I make has to be able to handle quite a few G's while holding on to this. I have the CAD model. I've decided where I think I want it. And basically I'm gonna put it vertically. I found that I'm not using about 4 pounds of nitrous where my current bottle location is, which is on an angle mounted to my half laterals tubes on the roll cage. So I want to mount it vertically, but the bottles are too tall. It does not clear my rear trunk. So here's what I've discovered. I can mount it nice and low vertically right next to my quick change if I make a bracket here off of my sway bar, and then I just need to make a vertical support with some kind of a cap. Also, FD recently got rid of the clamp styles, making them illegal due to, I believe, Ferris crashed in Road Atlanta and his bottle went flying out of the car because the clamps did not go all the way around and they didn't clamp it enough. So we're gonna do a full containment style where we're gonna have a tube or a bar come up from the bottom, and then we're gonna have probably a hinge style, just come down on top of the bottle and hold it down, left, right, up. Because of my bottle location, I had my sway bar mounted on the top of the frame rails, bolted to these going to my rear upper, but I actually changed the location, brought it back down to kind of the OEM area, spaced it back to give me room for the diff, and now I have blades going like this to the control arms. You can see all that on the car. We won't have time to powder coat all these things because we have an event to leave in 2 days, but that is what I'm working on today. Things that I've been working on, this is a really nifty design that I would come up with. Basically, there's 3 cars that I've wanted to make a bias bar booster delete kit for. And then Vasily wanted one for his Audi, and then I wanted one for the E46 wagon, and I already made one for the Corvette. And the problem is, all of these cars have different firewall flanges. Not only are they different firewall flanges, but the locations of where the bolts are consistently would interfere where we would have welded parts. So I had to get rid of all the welded parts. So these are all going to be billet machine parts. We're actually working on these now. These are going to be done in probably a week or 2, but this is the 3D printed version. We have our pivot arm, our fulcrum arm, which is what we use on the Corvette kit already. But the cool thing is this front plate is now interchangeable so that I can mount a different front plate and basically fit this to every chassis just by changing the front plate. Looks simple, took a ton of time to come up with this. Anything that is simple, the only reason it looks simple is because somebody spent a ton of time making it look that way, basically. So this does look simple, but we've got our support from the bottom, bracing. We've got our top, all nice joint connections. This plate is going to be easy for us to reproduce in multiple different configurations. So I've already designed the BMW. We've got an IS300, we've got a Corvette, etc., etc., etc. And these parts are going to be reusable for every chassis. So we can basically produce 50 to 100 of these at a time and only batch produce these. And this whole thing is going to work really nicely. I also have a support here joining the master mount blocks. So there's a bolt that goes through. I only had a hex bolt at the time. It's actually going to be a socket head. It's going to be really clean, really nice, billet, all the stuff. So that's something that I worked on for the last several days. I do have a CAD model of it on the BMW Something else I'm working on, I am designing a pit cart. We're gonna be working with Kansei wheels. So they sent me the model for their wheels, and this is gonna be the front section of it. Basically, we're gonna be able to get like 80 degrees. I'm gonna have a wagon style tow bar here that's gonna be connected to tie rods. It's gonna join the left and right. And I'm actually gonna put this truss structure front and rear, so the wheels will be able to turn both front and rear. I'll probably lock out the rear, but just having that ability in tight spaces is gonna be sweet. These are gonna be 4 square tubes that'll run the frame. I just started this last night, you know, in my spare time. And this is just like, I've barely made any progress on it. So that's another thing that we're gonna be building. We're gonna have lots of cool videos on this. Basically, I'm gonna lay everything out on the floor, take a big photo of everything that I want on a pit cart, put it into the computer, design it, make it repeatable, and utilize everybody and all of our skills to produce this, maybe as a product, but definitely not right off the bat. You know, these things, we want to build it, run it ourselves, find ways to improve it, and go on that way. Simple things that we got to whip up all the time. This is to give you guys perspective. We probably design 20 to 30 things a week, maybe more, and then you don't see any of it. This is just a BC Racing reservoir clamp. I'm gonna water jet cut this at a 1/2 inch, pop an M6 hole through here, probably thread the other half, and this is gonna be just an auxiliary clamp for the BC brackets. We could totally machine this, spend a bunch of time on it, make it super nice, maybe even list these on the website. I think that would actually be a great idea and product, but we just gotta like bang these things out and get them on the car, and that's kind of how, you know, a lot of products come from that, but basically there's so many things going on under the radar that you guys really don't ever get to see. Another thing we made, this is on FDF industrial side of things. I'm not gonna say what it is, other than we're gonna be making a bunch of them, and it's a super cool project that I was doing. And essentially, you might be able to see how it would do things, but this is another cool project that I was working on a couple weeks ago. Perspective. We're designing things at a crazy rate and always testing stuff in the background. Some of the products that you guys are seeing, we made a year or 2 years ago. Went through all of the testing, all of the design, all of the reworks, and now you're just seeing it. For example, all of the GR stuff that we just released. I think we released 6 products all at the same time on Friday. These products were in testing and design well over a year ago. Then we tested them throughout the winter. Then we made slight modifications. Then we sent more kits for testing out to our drivers like Elliot, who took it on to Drift Week, found one small improvement to be made, not necessarily by necessity, but just to make it that much better. Now that product is perfected, tested by multiple people, it's on the market as of last week, Friday, along with all of the other products. The rack relocation kit has been on a car for a long time, things like that. On a daily basis, we've got a ton of stuff. On a weekly basis, we're gonna sum it all up into a video and deliver it to you guys on design time. Actually, we can do a little walk around of the car. There's quite a few things that, again, we just whipped up. You're never gonna see it, but it's on the car, and it's basically into use. There's so many things. Let's just go to the shop and show you. Yeah, so coming out to the car, we have sway bar relocation. So basically these plates here, we had to design, make, weld. We did this yesterday. These canisters, I'm gonna have mounted something like this, something like that, somewhere that's easy to reach. And then we really have to mount these well because these joints here can leak and fail if you put any stress on them. You can see we've got the OEM section of the Corvette removed. Do you know where that gas door plate is? So here's the OEM setup, and then we made this super quick. It's a plate that's going to essentially replace that with this. This is the new performance fill cap. So we want to get this on the car, but in an OEM fashion. So we're going to be making an adapter to connect this to the factory hose, and then we're gonna send this out to James, the car that we just finished, put this on my car. Just gonna make filling it up a little bit easier, a little more race car, a little less OEM, although the OEM stuff obviously works great. And then on the Rush car, Oh boy, the design time that we put into the Rush car all within a day. I scanned 3 parts of the car, designed seat brackets to hold the D&D seat. We made a dash mount. Once we put a different seat in it, we had to raise the steering column, which we needed to do anyways, even with Rush's seat, because my knees were hitting the dash and the wheel. The wheel was rubbing against my thighs, so we raised the steering wheel. So this is for the aim dash that comes with the car. Raised it up. I wasn't sure where it was gonna fit, so we put some multiple holes. Oh, we made a block off for the side pods. We drove the car through the gravel outside, and right off the bat, the tire threw a bunch of gravel into the side pod. Probably had 200 little stones sitting in there, and I'm like, I don't want rain or rocks to be smashing all of the electronics that are sitting in the side pod here. So we made a 3D scanned it, made a plate that just zip ties in real easy, lines up with all the tubes. We threw that in. Again, these are things we wouldn't even talk about, but we do stuff like this all day. We've got an IS300 in over there. We're already doing some design stuff on that. We're adding some undercarriage braces, some things like that. I also did something on my diff. I raised it up slightly. The problem with Corvettes is the factory exhaust goes over the axle, out the rear. The issue with going over the axle and out the rear, it creates a very long exhaust system, plus generates a ton of heat in a concentrated area. So I raised the diff slightly, made a custom diff mount that we're not going to be offering to the public because this is just for my car, but I essentially wanted the exhaust to go under the axle. Needed to raise the diff a little bit. Now my exhaust is going under. Mike's going to come in, whip up some titanium 4-inch that's going to blast right under the axle. And yeah, I can show you that. Oh, one other thing. We also made this 45-degree light bracket that connects to a center tube on the bash bar. The lights are going to display kind of at the angle of drift. There's no reason headlights should be pointing forward on a drift car because we're never driving straight. So we whipped that up, we threw that in. These are also some tow hooks. It's just a single stud that goes through. This plate's welded to a tube. Just a nice little hoop. Goes to the bash bar, and then you can see right here, it's got this nice arc and it connects to the tow arm stud. So if I take this 4-inch piece of scrap pipe, I can sling it right through there, and we're gonna make an exhaust that comes through this way and then does a nice dump here. We want the exhaust exiting at the back of the car so that the rad's not recirculating the exhaust fumes. This pipe actually, all of Driftmaster's, it exited just in front of the subframe, and then we made an extension and then it exited right about here, and now we're doing our last revision, which is going to send it right out the back. Crazy. I mean, we're going right back to like OEM style. I actually preferred the one that exited right in front of the diff because it was the shortest, the easiest to remove if we wanted to do any transmission stuff. But whenever you're sitting in line a lot, it just bakes everything because the exhaust is, if you're driving, totally fine, never notice any problems, but you really want your sitting in line cool down times to be a time for the car to cool down. We still didn't have temperature issues, but the recovery wasn't as fast as I would like it to be, so I would shut the car off, keep the water pump running, drop 20 degrees. But really, we never got over 220 anyways, which is like normal pickup truck operating temperature. So it never was an issue, but I wanted to correct it to make it like even less of a potential problem. If we're heat soaking in Alabama or something where it's way hotter than here or Europe, we want to be ready for that. So I know you had more questions, Jack, but that's basically the rundown on all of the stuff. So
what products are the closest to release?
probably this one, or what Dilly's been working on, which is all of our top plates that have all the adjustments. So we just released all the F stuff. Maybe we'll save the top plates that we've been machining. We've got a couple hundred done. We'll save those for next week's design time, but this is going to be a huge product that we've invested a ton into.
What problems and challenges came up this week?
It's Tuesday, so nothing crazy to report on as of yet, but you know, every time we do this, there might be a different answer to that. Next question.
Did anything unexpected or weird happen during development of any product?
Yeah, I kind of went a little overboard on answering question number 1, so I did answer that when I was talking about things like this and how solving the problem on making things interchangeable. I wish I could have shown the process, because originally this was supposed to be a welded piece, just like the other one, and The problem was the Corvette plate has these holes in much different locations, whereas the BMW is much smaller and tighter. So there was nowhere I could have welded the pieces to this plate like I did them on the Corvette, and it just didn't work. So I really had to go back to the drawing board on that. And showing that type of stuff is like basically 6 to 8 hours of your time is what some people would consider to be wasted, but actually it guides you closer to the solution of what it is. So like a successful design and failures that's a package deal. You have to fail at a bunch of things in order to realize what the correct way to do it is. It's all necessary, but I can't really show it because it's gone. Because I do remember scratching the entire design, deleting the files, because I then had a clear path on how to make this all work, and this is the result here. So,
is there anything you are especially excited about right now?
Yeah, I'm excited for what I didn't show in this video, but we will show you in the next one. It is all of the caster camber plates that Dilly's machining right now, and we've designed them for every chassis. So when I show you guys this, you're gonna be really pumped that this will suit grip racing guys, drift guys. It'll work with any angle kit. It's basically a McPherson strut solution it's built for a very robust use product in the racing environment. So there's options where the holes are slotted and things, and we've done this on the drift cars, but really to have a really nice billet part with machined stainless studs and all of these different options and things, it's gonna be super solid. More so for racing guys, because drifting, we don't see the same tire loads on the suspension that we do in racing. So we had to come up with a solution for both, and you guys are really gonna like that. And I'm excited to release it. We've been working on it. We basically bought a CNC mill specifically to machine these parts. So I'll show you guys that next week. That's pretty much the end of this video. Those were the 5 questions that Jack asked. Maybe we'll change up the questions, maybe we'll ask the same ones, because the answers will be different every time. We'll see you guys next week. Not sure what day. It's just gonna be once a week. We're going to DMCC, so the next video is probably gonna be us competing in that, and see you then.